Hello and welcome to the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. My name is Kyle Tremblay, and I'm the editor-in-chief at ShowRatings.tv, a user-driven television review website. Visit us online at www.showratings.tv and follow us on Twitter at ShowRatingsTV. Tonight, we're talking about the new NBC comedy, Working the Engels. According to NBC's website, a family of ne'er-do-wells bands together to run a law firm with a minor problem. Only one is qualified to practice law. Here to talk about Working the Engels is my fellow editor at ShowRatings.tv, Blair Knight Graves. It's been so long since we last talked.
I know. How long has it been? 20 seconds?
Just about, maybe 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we just recorded the Welcome to Sweden Roundtable, a show that we both enjoyed. And
That's a lot.
Yeah, and that aired prior to this.
Best way to intro this show.
Yeah, in retrospect, should we have known this was coming based on the terrible pun in the title?
Yes.
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer?
Long answer, I didn't know much about the show going into it, so I could not have told you that it was going to be bad based on its title.
Yeah, although, I mean, when you're a comedy, do you think that they named them the Engels just so they could make that joke?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, that was my take.
Absolutely.
I spent a good 80% of this episode thinking about that. Like, it's making a TV show is a big deal. It involves a lot of people, a lot of money, a lot of time. At what point in the decision-making process was someone like, guys, I've got it. We're going to name them the Engels. And everyone's like, why is that? And the guy was like, I'm going to tell you. So we can make a Working the Angles pun. It's like that... Who says Working the Angles in 2014?
It's not even a phrase anymore.
This is what you geared your whole title and character names around? Working the Engels pun? I never got over that. And I didn't have the chance to get over it because, oh my goodness, was this bad.
Yeah, so real quick side note about their name, though.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Engel in German means angel.
Oh.
And I do not think that any of these characters are angelic in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all. They are, well, Blair, they are a family of ne'er-do-wells. So, as described on the site.
Working the Engels and ne'er-do-wells. I'm so glad that we are in 1955.
Yeah, I was going to say. Was this pilot written by Don Draper while he was at Sterling Cooper in the 60s? Because
it may very well have been.
No, sorry, Don would never be this bad. This is like written by Roger Sterling. Sorry, I'm making Mad Men references.
You can tell how unhappy you are.
This was terrible. I mean, this was just terrible.
Yourself.
Yeah,
Kyle, you're trying to soothe yourself with Mad Men.
I want to talk about anything but this stupid pilot. To be honest.
Well, let's tell the audience very quickly about what it was.
Yeah.
It was a show about a family, and the father died.
Are you eulogizing it?
I am, because it's gonna die.
All right.
Because the father died, and he left his show. Yeah, he left his family $200,000 in debt rather than giving them $200,000.
Big plot point.
Yeah, like the biggest plot point.
Yeah.
And Colin Mockery delivers the news to the mother, and he sets my standards really high.
I enjoyed. I was like, Colin Mockery.
So great! Oh my god, I'm so glad to see you.
You're so happy.
And then you find out that he has a wife or his now widow is an alcoholic. I'm talking about this man as if he's an actual character. This is bad. The mother is an alcoholic, a severe alcoholic. Severe.
Crippling alcoholism.
Yes, crippling alcoholism.
The funniest of all diseases.
Apparently. I believe the daughter is the oldest, the blonde daughter, and she is a pill popping born again Christian pagan, I think.
Yeah,
I
addicted to drugs to the point that it was uncomfortable.
yes.
Like
Uh,
every one of her lines was directly addressing her open drug addiction.
yes. And although I will admit that the actress I don't know the character name, but the actress who played her is her name is Azura Sky, and she was in 2 episodes of Buffy, and I really enjoyed her performance in Buffy. So
Okay, this is a really important point. None of this is the actor's fault.
no,
This is
no,
not a show that is brought down by the cast. I think the
no.
cast does between a fine and an even acceptable job delivering what is awful material.
I was going to actually point out that I think all of the actors, with the exception of the brother character, whoever that actor is, everybody gave a phenomenal performance for the material that they had.
Everyone is trying.
Yeah.
Everyone, I mean, it's hard when the material is this bad. I thought there were some rough choices from the actors, but at the same time, when you're delivering a bad joke, I don't know what you're supposed to do. So overall, on the list of things wrong with this pilot, the acting performances don't even crack.
No.
So we need to get that out of the way. No, it's nobody's fault on screen.
Yes.
That said,
that said, so okay, so you gave your commentary about the older sister. Then there's the middle brother who is a compulsive thief.
Yes, he stole during the course of this pilot. He stole about 10 cell phones
and a wallet.
And his backstory is that he stole $12,000 from the family.
Oh.
And was put in jail for it.
Oh.
So, again, that was a big point there. You probably shouldn't have missed that, but that's okay.
I just think I was tuning out at
That's okay. Listen, I don't even know what I missed. But, yeah. So, I mean, when we say ne'er-do-wells, they really mean it. Because these people are awful and need help.
Yes. But then they have the golden child, the youngest daughter.
Yes.
Who is Abigail from Hannibal.
Casey Roll.
Yes. Excellent. Very excellent actress.
Really good. Terrific in Hannibal.
Yeah. Terrible character that she had to play here.
I need to talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
I need some space.
Okay, all right. Do I need to soothe you with Hannibal now?
I think I do. When Hannibal's soothing, you know that there's a problem.
And that's because, Hannibal's a great show, everybody.
It's a
Hannibal's
wonderful show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Please, if you are thinking about spending 20 minutes working the Engels, spend 40 minutes watching Hannibal. You'll thank us later.
Absolutely. Follow his guidelines right there.
So her character's name is Jenna, which I picked up. The only character name that I picked up.
Yes.
Jenna is stuck at a law firm where she's on the ground floor. She's the golden child. She's very smart, very talented, educated. She is starting her career in law and is being mistreated severely by her boss and basically forced to work really heavy hours for very little pay on the hope that someday she's promoted. That setup I really like. I like that speaks to me. I get that. I understand that. I think that that's a good starting point. That character at one point, so we're starting there. We're starting with me relating to and enjoying this setup, and then we get to the point where she quits, roughly 15 minutes into the episode, 15 minutes of screen time, and she goes on the most awful tirade about her boss that I've ever heard from a character that's supposed to be sympathetic. There's a chlamydia joke in there. She barges into a boardroom, talks about her boss's chlamydia, talks about her overbilling clients, embarrasses her, basically puts up a couple peace signs and pieces out. It's okay, this is supposed to be the character I like.
Right.
This is, I know I get from the 10 minutes we saw of your boss that she's not a nice lady.
Yes.
Can you you're not she's supposed to be the reverse black sheep of the family, the good one in a bad family. Why is she behaving terribly, and why are we supposed to be rooting for it? That's so uncomfortable.
She's the black sheep in a bad family, which I guess makes her the white sheep.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
I know.
It seems weird.
It's a very, very, let's not go there. But I think that just sort of reinforces the family that she comes from, that she's capable of speaking like them.
Yeah.
That she's capable of being an atrocious human being.
Yeah, and I until that point, thought she was the redeeming quality of the show, because it's like, okay, so we're gonna have one nice, talented person in the midst of this terrible family, and she's gonna rise up, and she's gonna teach her family to be kind. Nope, I hate her too.
Yeah, no, and she remained deplorable throughout.
Yeah.
After that moment, she was no longer a likable character. I definitely.
Also, what was up with her naked Asian roommate?
Talk about weird casting. I couldn't
What?
even understand what her roommate was saying.
I
Not because of an accent, but because the woman was speaking at such a low register and so quietly that I could not understand the lines that she was repeating.
what was the joke? I want to like have it inside the actor's studio. First about the title of this show, and then second about what the thinking was of that character. Like what was the actor going for? What was the character written for? What is supposed to be funny? Like why is that character on screen?
I think it's supposed to make it her life so uncomfortable the way that it is that you are relieved when she leaves that life to go be with her awful family.
Yes.
But her family is 10 times worse than the life that she is currently leading.
Yes, but okay, so I get the point. Like we want to make this girl's life seem not nearly as glamorous as one would make it out to be. On the list of ways you would do that, naked Asian guitar playing roommate is not there. It's not present. That's not an option.
This has to have been like one of the writer's personal experiences that they thought would be like play well.
Yeah, yes, you're right. That's what it feels like. It feels like someone was like, I had the craziest roommate, because it's just nonsense. I mean, and I guess that's really, of all the sins of this pilot, it just isn't funny. Like it almost isn't attempting comedy at points. Like there were points where I was like really striving just to make out what the joke was intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was just like I'm so far away. Like at least with like CBS comedies with laugh tracks, you understand the intent. You understand that they're trying to be funny. With a single cam like this, when it goes wrong, and when it's written in a non-funny way, boy, does it sit flat.
You know,
yeah.
You know what's interesting though? I kept thinking this throughout the show because I did enjoy the performances. I did not enjoy the material, but I did enjoy the performances like pretty thoroughly. Thought that they made some questionable choices, but for the most part, they all had a grasp of their own character and they owned it. And I really appreciate when an actor really will do that. I feel like without the title and with better writing, and completely different cinematic execution, the editing and the way that it was shot, that it actually probably would be really funny.
So like, with just the premise in the cast.
Just the premise in the cast, that could be a home run, but not with everything else.
Yeah, because I mean, I had read the premise before I watched, and it didn't immediately turn me off. You know, it's like I get it. It's you understand how it's sustainable. You know that there are going to be cases brought in, and this family law firm is going to deal with them. So there's like you already got like the topic of every episode basically. I think this should have been a multicam. Mm-hmm. I think that it's not even in the ballpark of being smart enough to survive without a laugh track. This show is begging for a laugh track because it needs to tell you when to laugh, because otherwise you're not laughing.
Yes, I agree with that.
And like I don't watch any multicams. I'm generally not a fan. All the comedies I watch are single cam, but you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And this needs to give it up. Give up the pursuit of single cam and just try to play as broad as possible. I mean again, like the characters are drawn so broadly. You know, there's the thief brother and the alcoholic mother and the pill popping sister. Like those are multicam characters. Those are not like nuanced characters whose lives you want to get to know. Those are stereotypes who are there for the service of jokes.
Yes.
And so
I think if I were to compare it to any other show, and it will probably meet the same fate as that show, it would probably be the new normal. It has the potential to have the characters be likable at some point, but for the most part, It's just offensive, and even though the cast is doing as best that they can with the material, as I said, it's just offensive, and it's just a train wreck to watch. And it's telling a story that could be compelling, but really is not.
Fair. I get that. I think you are being unkind to the new normal. A show that I did not like, and that I understand why it was canceled. But the new normal had a spark to it, where it like there was a life to the new normal and a spark, and it was, I think, unfortunately saddled with a lot of agenda that in the early part of the new normal really came across too strongly and overshadowed the comedy. But there always was comedy on that show. Like Ryan Murphy, for whatever you want to say about him, knows how to write jokes. Like he's a professional, you know. Like and I don't know who made this show, and I don't want to say anything bad about them, but just based purely on what I saw on screen in this pilot. And we said in the Welcome to Sweden, the worst episode of most comedies is the pilot. So this will almost certainly get better if it has a chance to. But what I saw on screen in this pilot was a lack of understanding of what's funny.
Yes.
Like it just doesn't have a grasp on what's funny about these characters, on what's funny in the world, on how to take advantage of its format, or how to leverage its premise into any kind of comedy. Like it just seemed hapless. In a way that I don't think the new normal ever quite did. I think the issues with the new normal were different issues. This reminds me of this reminds me of a multicam that has just been forced to be a single cam. It's worse than the Robin Williams CBS show, the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar in the advertising agency from last season that got canceled.
Did it get canceled?
Yeah, it did.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, sorry, not the time or place.
The ratings fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
It was really bad. But I forget that show, and I wish I could remember it. But it reminds me a little bit of that, in that it's a multicam masquerading as a single cam.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the actual setup, it's probably closer to I wish I had more CBS comedy knowledge. The one with Margot Martindale.
I don't know who that is.
She was on Justified. She's a wonderful actress. Hold on, I'm gonna come up with it because I can't miss two CBS shows in a row.
You can miss two CBS shows in a row.
It's called The Millers.
The Millers.
Yeah, The Millers, and that is actually probably like the closest in terms of what this show is attempting to do. It's like if you imagine The Millers without a laugh track. That's about where we're at here.
Yes.
So, in other words, a complete disaster. The Robin Williams show, by the way, was called The Crazy Ones.
Yes, The Crazy Ones.
Which I had to Google The Millers. I didn't have to Google The Crazy Ones. It just came to me. So,
yeah, it's sort of, I mean, even I know that The Big Bang Theory is a beloved show in the United States.
Oh, don't watch out now. People love The Big Bang Theory.
I know. But
careful.
But
uh-oh.
All of the characters in that show, with the exception of the protagonist character, are all kind of also awful. Like, at least when the show starts out, they're endearing awful, but they're awful. Like, you've got a character who is the definition of antisocial. You have a character who is creepily obsessed with women to the point where he might be a sexual predator. And then you have a character who's the opposite, who can't talk to women at all, and he's sort of clumsy. And they're not as awful characters because they're not pill popping and they're not thieves and things like that. But characters that are just kind of, like, in my opinion, not very likable. I think that that's sort of how these characters are as well. Right. In I don't even know what show we're talking about. Working the Engels. Yes.
No, I can't believe you didn't remember the title after we talked about it for 10 minutes. But no, and it's like, yeah, it's like a CBS setup, except it is far less competent than any CBS show. Yes. CBS shows, if nothing else, they know who their audience is and they know how to appeal to their audience. I cannot imagine, I literally cannot imagine a single person who Working the Engels would appeal to.
Nor can I, and I think that it is just another example of NBC sort of desperately clamoring to have some comedies to the point where it's just accepting anything.
Yeah, and it's the summer, and they're just throwing stuff at the wall. They already tried Undateable, which was somehow worse than this. So,
did Undateable get canceled?
Well, it was like a 10-episode run 2 a week kind of thing, so they didn't like cancel it mid-run. But I can't imagine it would be coming back. But there's no like official announcement.
Okay.
But anyway, so at least we have Welcome to Sweden, which looks good. NBC finally had a hit.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it wasn't with Working the Engels.
Nope.
Final rating, Blair, thumbs up or thumbs down, Working the Engels.
Running away from the crazy naked Asian guitarist lady and hoping to never ever have to watch the show ever again.
Yeah. Well, I unfortunately cut off my thumbs before I could give it a rating, but I'm hoping to steal some new ones. So, and if I successfully steal them, they will be pointed down. All right.
Gosh.
Listen.
We just need to soothe ourselves. Let's go watch some Hannibal.
Let's watch Hannibal. Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a scene out of Hannibal, but in Hannibal I would actually want to watch it. All right, so that concludes this episode of the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable. We invite you to check out this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts at southgatemediagroup.com and to read about, rate, and discuss all your favorite shows at ShowRatings.tv. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, Blair at BlairLovesTV, and that's Blair with an E, and Show Ratings at ShowRatingsTV. Until next time, this has been Kyle Tremblay. Thanks for listening.